Hi, it's Sarah here. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. We're going to be talking about emotions, feelings today, one of my favorite subjects. So often as children, we are taught not to show our emotions, especially if you're a boy. You're taught not to show fear, not to show if you're sad. Parents don't want to see you crying when you get a little bit older. So what happens is, as children, you don't think it's correct to show your feelings, so you end up just shoving them down somewhere, shoving them deep inside, because you don't have the life experience to know how to process them. Then we also create judgments about these emotions because we've been taught it's not good to show them, and we are taught that it's not nice to be angry or to be bitter or to hate somebody, and so we end up with these judgments about various emotions. And then what happens is later on in life, when they invariably rear up again, we tell ourselves off, we berate ourselves, and we feel guilty and ashamed for feeling these emotions. But we need to feel our emotions and process them. In fact, emotions are actually really useful for showing you where there's disharmony or something that needs to be addressed. Can you imagine if there were no emotions, if you didn't feel anything? Life would be very boring and it would be extremely hard to learn and grow. So, emotions are useful and not something to be judged, and not one emotion is better or worse than the other. Obviously you want to have more emotions like love and joy and bliss, but it's not, we can't judge hatred is good, anger is bad, that kind of thing. So emotions are triggered by events, something that you're experiencing, maybe something that you're seeing or hearing, or maybe a thought. Now, when you have a thought followed by emotion, and it happens over and over again, it creates what's called a neural pathway in your brain. This is actually you hardwiring your brain. So if you have that over and over again, it creates a really strong neural pathway. And our brain likes to conserve energy, so it likes to use the same neural pathways. So often you will have the same response to a particular thought or a particular event, and that is actually because you have hardwired your brain that way. And when you've hardwired your brain this way, we call it an habitual response. Okay, it becomes a habit. Now, the word emotion comes from energy in motion. Emotions are actually an energy, and when you feel these emotions over and over again, or you feel them really strongly, they can become stuck emotional energy in your energy field and in your physical body. And they can actually cause health problems, and they will also influence how you think. So, say for example, you had a lot of anger in your body. Now, anger, when you think about it, it's hot, it's violent, and so that can create disharmony in your body, dis-ease in your body, something that is hot and inflamed, or hot and swollen, some kind of infection, some kind of inflammation. If you have a lot of emotions such as unforgiveness towards yourself, self-blame, self-criticism, those kind of emotions, you're actually turning on yourself. So your body then might produce diseases where you turn on yourself, like autoimmune diseases. They will also influence how you feel. So you have a lot of fear in your body, then you are likely to respond more to a situation with fear than somebody who didn't. I had an experience where I lived for a year with loads of earthquakes, and we had some really big ones, and they caused a lot of panic and fear. And for a few years afterwards, every time I heard a truck rumbling down the road, then my body would respond with the fear response, the fight and flight response, like my body would freeze, and I could feel the panic rising. so they will influence how you feel. Now, I've also been a chiropractor for many years, and often people would come with their back out of alignment, and there were some times when I couldn't adjust the vertebra. So I learned a technique to release the emotions that have caused it to go out of place, and literally within a few seconds of releasing the emotion, the vertebra would actually ping back by itself. So these emotions do have a really strong impact on how you feel and the health of your physical body. Now, when they're in the cells of your body, we call them cellular memory. And what is interesting is that you can bring the imprint of the cellular memory from another life with you. I had a friend who he had shoulder pain and couldn't get to the bottom of it, had all the tests and couldn't find out what it was. And eventually he saw a healer, and the healer picked up that he had been shot by an arrow in another life, and they worked on clearing that life, and the pain in his shoulder disappeared. So you can bring the cellular memory of the pain and trauma and fear, whatever, as an energetic imprint with you from another life. You can also pick up emotions from your mother when you're in the womb. So say, for example, your mother felt a lot of fear when you were in the womb. You get used to that fear and it becomes normal for you. And then what happens when you're born is that fear is normal for you. And so you have a very high baseline. You're used to the fear, and that's normal, and it's going to affect you for the rest of your life until you realize what's happened and then release the fear and change your attitude towards fear. So to ascend, we need to have peace and joy, and we need to return to love. We need to master our emotions, but that's not easy when we have all these emotions stuck in our energy field and stuck in our physical body. So it's a lot easier to master your emotions once you've started to clear yourself. Now, we will talk about clearing yourself at the end, but before we do that, you just need to know that you are the divine being inside the physical body, okay? You are the conscious energy, you are the soul, you can call yourself divine being, whatever you like to call yourself, you're God in human form, and you are here to learn and grow. And as a divine being, you know that only love and joy and happiness and bliss and forgiveness and peace are real, but that's not what we experience. So what happens is, as we go through our life, our subconscious mind, which is where we hold our belief system, it has the role of keeping us safe, as amongst other things. And so our subconscious mind is like a data bank, and it processes millions of bits of data per second. And so it is always looking at what you're perceiving, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're tasting, etc., processing it to make sure you're safe. So we store our beliefs in our subconscious system, and our subconscious mind is always flicking through these beliefs just to check there's something that it could bring up just to keep you safe. So if it finds a belief that it thinks needs red flagging, it will bring it up and it will play it over and over again as a mind tape. Now, consciously, you can't hear it, which is a good job, because if you can imagine 100 of these things going at once, you go insane within 30 seconds. But what can hear it is your body. Now, your body has its own consciousness and awareness, and you can also think of your body as a continuation of your subconscious mind. Okay, it can hear these mind tapes. So if your mind is bringing up a belief and saying, okay, we need to bring this belief to your attention, you are not safe here, your body feels the fear. Okay, you as a divine being happily sat inside the body, minding your own business, enjoying life, but your body feels the fear. And then what happens is your ego mind, which is part of your personality, picks up on the fear from your body and your ego also has the job of keeping you safe. So it picks up the fear from your body, and then it will produce feelings of fear, anxiety, worry, but also feelings of anger, resentment, unworthiness, undeserving. It has a whole myriad of emotions it can produce to stop you going down a certain path if it thinks you're being unsafe. So what happens is we buy into these emotions and we think they're ours. They feel like they're ours because we can feel them really strongly, but actually they're not. They are coming from your body's fears, okay, not from you, and then they are being processed, and your ego is producing these emotions to try and keep you safe. So we can define ourselves by our emotions too. We can say, I'm a mean person, I'm an angry person, I'm a miserable person, but you're not, because these emotions are not yours, okay? They're from your body and they're from your ego, and it's so important that you understand that. So when you think about it, they're not real, are they? They're actually an illusion. Our ego mind is creating this illusion. And these emotions are a construct of our ego mind. They're not real. If your life is in an immediate danger, then the emotion of fear is real. Obviously, you don't want to go walking into a burning building, do you? Or swimming miles out to sea. So there are times when fear is useful and it is real, if your life's in immediate danger, but otherwise it's not. It could be a worry about the future, or it's coming from a memory, or it's coming from a thought, but it's not real. So we define ourselves, but you are, as a divine being, you're very gentle, you're very loving, and you're very kind. Now, it's also important to know that most emotions have their roots in fear. So we use emotions like anger and hatred as a self-defense mechanism. We can feel really angry at somebody, but we're actually using it to keep somebody away from us so they don't hurt us. Emotions such as guilt can be the fear of being found out, so therefore you might be judged and rejected. Emotions such as shame is fear of not being good enough, not being lovable. Emotions such as unworthy and deservingness could be a fear of having something you're not entitled to, so you're going to get told off and judged again. Even grief can be like a fear of loneliness, or if something got taken away from you, it might be a fear of lack of security. Now the two main fears, so we have these emotions have their roots in fear, but the two main fears that we have, or that our body has, it's fear of abandonment and fear of rejection. Because as a child, what happens if you are rejected and abandoned as a child, as a baby, as a young child, you're likely to die. So your body has this innate fear, it's born with it, of abandonment and rejection. So ultimately that boils down to a fear of death. Now you, as a divine being, you don't fear death, because death to you is just like walking through a door. But our body feels death because our body does die. So ultimately, pretty much all these emotions have their roots in fear, and this fear boils down to abandonment and rejection, which ultimately boils down to a fear of death. But we experience all these myriads of other emotions. Now, you as a divine being, as I said before, you don't fear death, but you also don't fear disease. Our body, again, fears disease. You don't fear disease because, as a divine being, you know everything is a choice. Now, before we incarnate, we choose the big things that are going to happen to us, the big challenging experiences. But everything else we experience, we are creating and choosing as we go along. Now, 95% of what we are choosing and experiencing is coming from our subconscious mind based on our belief system. We only choose 5% of what we are experiencing. You know, we think we have free will and we control our lives, but we don't. And just until you know yourself as divine and have enough self-love, most of what you're experiencing is coming from your subconscious mind. So, disease. You as a divine being know you can choose a disease or not. So, I would just like to give you another example of this. I was once sitting at an airport lounge waiting to go on a long flight. I think it was about 12 hours. And there was somebody sitting fairly close to me that was obviously had the flu. This was a few years ago. He was coughing and spluttering and looked really ill. And I thought, oh, there's no way they'll let him on the plane. But anyway, they did. And that wouldn't happen nowadays, I'm sure. And I thought, well, I hope he doesn't sit too close to me. Anyway, he ended up sitting fairly close. And so my belief was, I'm bound to catch this. And lo and behold, a few days later, I get home, a few days later, I'm ill in bed, coughing and spluttering. Anyway, Yeshua, who was Jesus, came and said, why are you ill in bed? And like my spirit replied. I didn't verbally reply, but my spirit replied and I could hear it. And she said that we were ill. And he said, well, actually, there is no disease. What there are is a list of symptoms. There are symptoms of diseases, and it's a choice. So what happens is we buy into this belief of diseases. But what we're actually having is a list of symptoms, and then we label our disease based on this list of symptoms. But disease ultimately is a choice. Now, as I say, 95% of what you're choosing is coming from the subconscious mind. So if you don't feel safe to be here, you might choose a disease because you want to leave the planet. If you don't feel worthy and deserving of having an easy life, you might choose a disease, well, a list of symptoms, because you don't feel worthy and deserving of feeling great. If you have guilt and shame, you might pick diseases because guilt and shame, you like to keep yourself self-sabotage. You like to sabotage yourself, and maybe you haven't forgiven yourself. Okay, so disease ultimately is a choice. Now, we can consciously choose what we experience. I say it works a lot better when you know you're divine and you have enough self-love. But you can just keep repeating, with the power of God that I am, I intend, choose and pray to have full health and vitality. It is something you need to keep repeating over and over again. So say it as often as you can through the day. You can set it as a reminder to come on your phone. It is something that you keep needing to say, and then what you'll find is anything that is contradicting that will come up for you to clear, and then eventually that is what you will experience. You will experience full health and vitality. It's also important to know that your body can heal itself of anything. You know, there are cases of somebody who has terminal cancer and all of a sudden they have this miraculous recovery. There are cases of people who have been told they cannot walk again, and the body heals itself so the person can walk. And that is ultimately, it's down to your belief system. Okay, if you have enough belief of something, then that's what you're going to experience. So, if you have somebody that's sick in your household, instead of thinking, well, you know, I'm bound to catch that, because if that's what you think, that's what you're going to experience, you can change that to intending and choosing. Also the same if you have a genetic predisposition to something. Instead of thinking, okay, my parents had it, which means I'm going to have it. Nope, change your belief system to my parents had it, but I'm fine. Okay, you don't have to have it. It is a choice. So, another fear a lot of people have but aren't aware of and it doesn't matter whether you're religious or not. It is a fear of separation from God. Now, we cannot be separate from God because we are God. And if you want to find God, don't look outside. Put your awareness deep into your heart center, deep into your chest, and find God in there, because that is where the God in you is dwelling. Okay? God is everything and everywhere, but is inside of you. You're God in human form. But most people have this innate fear, anxiety, and worry of being separate from God. They just don't know about it. So one thing to give yourself inner peace is to know that you are God, and to go inside and find God inside of you. Now, each emotion also, it has a vibrational frequency. So emotions such as joy and bliss and happiness are at the top. Joy and bliss are right at the very top. Emotions, you might think hate is at the bottom, but it's not. The lowest vibrational emotion is shame, and guilt is the one above it. And that is because guilt and shame are the most toxic of emotions. They will halt your ascension. Your ascension is expansion of your consciousness, okay? It's your learning and growing. That's what ascension is. But when you feel guilt and shame, they'll keep you enslaved as a prisoner in regards to your ascension. It's like having your head stuck in a cage. And they will cause you to have struggle and self-sabotage yourself, so you don't choose the easy path. So if you have something that you feel guilty about, you need to forgive yourself, first of all. And there are talks on forgiveness on my Facebook page. But you have to know that as a divine being, any experience that you had, the big ones, you had a soul contract to go through it, and you were here to learn and grow. It is something that you had to go through. And anything else that you have gone through, that you have done, that you feel guilty about, just know that you've always done your best based on your belief system, your stuck emotional energy, your conditioning, how you were brought up, and your wisdom. Okay? And set yourself free of guilt. And ultimately, no, guilt's not real. Guilt is, as we talked before, it is a construct of your ego mind. It is not real, it's an illusion. Okay, it's a divine being. Think, oh, that was a great experience for me to learn and grow. Okay, shame. Shame is I am wrong, or I am bad, or I'm not enough. Whereas guilt is I have done something wrong. Shame is I am wrong, or I am bad, or not enough. And if you have shame, shame hides in secrecy. Shame has its strength in secrecy. So if there's something that's happened to you that you feel ashamed about, find somebody that you can talk to about it. It might be you have a friend that will be empathic, that's the word I'm trying to think of, that won't judge you and that won't tell your secret. Okay? If you don't have friends like that, maybe you have a therapist you can talk to. If you haven't got anyone, a really good way is to imagine you talking to somebody about it. So you just sit with your eyes shut and imagine you have a friend in front of you or a family member, and you tell them everything that's happened to you. Don't hold anything out. I mean, nobody's going to ever hear it. And your body, because you're doing it with your eyes shut, now your body believes everything you say, and it hears and you imagine as true. So, if you want to put this to the test, you can imagine now just sucking on half a lemon, feeling that sourness and that bitterness. And what will happen is you will start to salivate because your body thinks you are sucking on half a lemon. So it produces extra saliva to keep your teeth enamel safe. So your body thinks you are spilling your secrets out. And do this more than once. Do this 5 or 6 times. And your body will actually start to release the emotion of shame because it thinks you are spilling your secret out. And then what you need to do is imagine the other person responding with kindness and with love and with saying, oh, that's okay. Look, I'm really sorry you went through what you went through, but still know that you are lovable and you still are enough and you're still a lovely person and I love you. You know, you can make it up. And your body's going to think, great, and start to release the shame. You can also make a mantra. A mantra is something you repeat over and over again. So your mantra could be, everything happens for a reason. Okay, so know you are enough. Know you're lovable just as you are. And know you're divinely perfect. What you also can do is send love to your body and send forgiveness to your body and send gratitude to your body, okay? Because your body is feeling this shame or this guilt. So you can either go inside your heart center and send love and gratitude and forgiveness to your body, or you can breathe it in. Imagine breathing in love and forgiveness and gratitude to your body. Or you can just simply cuddle yourself. You know, hold your arms, rub your arms. It's okay, body, I love you. It doesn't matter what you've been through or what we've done, I still love you. And we're just going to mention depression. Okay, so depression obviously has a very low vibrational frequency too. It can be like living in a black hole. There are many different causes of depression, and I have done a talk on depression too. So if this is something you deal with, there's a talk on it on my Facebook page. But one of the main causes of depression is when we're a child, if we're not treated well, we have a lot of grief about the way we are treated. You know, as a child, you don't understand why your mother or father are being hard on you. You think there's something you've done wrong. And so there's shame and there's guilt and there's grief. And what you do is you shove this grief inside your heart and your heart center. Then you also feel unworthy and undeserving because you're not loved. So you shove this grief and this unworthy and undeserving in your heart, your physical heart and your heart center. And this blocks your heart and heart center up. Now, it can also be grief from, say, you had a parent that died or a close pet that died. Okay, not necessarily how you're treated, but it's mainly grief, unworthy, undeserving, stuck in your physical heart, stuck in your heart center. And you can't, when your heart is blocked, you put lots of walls around your heart and heart center to try and keep yourself safe from being hurt. And with these blocks up, you can't allow love in and allow love out like you were designed to, like your heart and your heart center were designed to. And this causes depression. Okay, so if depression is something you deal with, look back in your childhood and find out if there was a time when you had a lot of grief, and then you need to work on releasing the grief. And we are going to talk about how to release the things at the end too. So that's depression. It is useful for you to know that if you have had a traumatic experience, you know, if you've lived through, like me, I lived through the earthquakes, or, you know, if there was a natural disaster or something traumatic happened to you, or, you know, if you were beaten as a child, or if you've been abused, anything like that, you have a gland in your brain called your amygdala gland, and that amygdala gland is responsible for dealing with fear. And it is responsible for your fight or flight mechanism, okay? Either you're going to run or you're going to stand and fight. What happens is, if you've been through a traumatic experience, is that amygdala gland, and also part of your ego mind called your id, they become oversensitive. And what that means is that you will find yourself jumping at shadows. You're going to be a lot more fearful than somebody else. You can become oversensitive to the amygdala gland and the id become oversensitive. So it means you'll be jumping at shadows, but you can become oversensitive to light, to sound, to touch, to smell, and to taste. And so you will often react with fear. You will often react with panic much more easily than somebody else. You know, after my earthquakes, I was walking down the road and a car backfired and I ducked because of my amygdala gland was so shocked. So we can talk about a little bit, I can't get my words out today, talk a little bit about your amygdala gland and calming down your amygdala gland and your id at the end. But mainly it's sending love to your mind and reassuring it is safe. Sending love to your brain and reassuring it is safe. Sending love to your body and reassuring it is safe. Okay, reassure your body and your brain it is safe. Send them love and get them to calm down. You can also use essential oils as well. That's one really good way of calming down your amygdala gland too. And you might find yourself overreacting to situations. You know, you're nice and calm one minute and then there's something really small triggers you off, and the next minute you're yelling and slamming doors and storming out the house, and it's like you're being hijacked by your emotions. And you have actually literally been hijacked by your brain, by your amygdala, and by your id, that part of your ego. Okay, so it's not you. So it's really important to know this isn't the real you. This isn't you. You are being hijacked by your emotions, by your brain, and by your ego. Okay, it's not you, not the real you, because otherwise then we tend to judge ourselves, and we judge ourselves as being a very angry person, and then that just self-perpetuates. If this keeps happening, one way you can do it is try and nip it in the bud right at the very beginning. So when you feel that's coming over you, try and take a deep breath in and count to 10 and try and stop it. Another way you can do it is maybe pinch yourself hard or something. Just do something to break the cycle, because once you get into it, then it's really hard to stop it. But if you can nip it in the bud right in the first few seconds, you might be able to stop it from happening. So, the first step in dealing with your emotions is awareness. Okay, so for a few weeks, carry around a notebook. See what triggers off your emotions. What thought triggers off what emotions? What event triggers off what emotions? What are you seeing or hearing or smelling or whatever that's triggering off your emotions? And then use that knowledge to work out what your beliefs are. Okay, because it is your beliefs that are creating what you're experiencing. Use that knowledge to work out what your thought patterns are, because it is your thoughts which ultimately create your beliefs. So use your emotions as a tool. They are there to teach you that something is wrong, to tell you there is something that's out of balance, or that's disharmony in your mind or your emotional field or in your physical body. So if you find out you have a belief that you need changing, to change a belief, you want to bring in a new positive one, and you can say it as many times a day and write it as many times a day and read it and sing it and set it as a reminder. Okay, think of a new belief to overwrite the limiting one, and just keep seeing it and reading it and saying it as often as you can. It might well take you a few months. To change a thought pattern, again, it's nipping it in the bud. When you notice what thought you're thinking and you think, that's not a very empowering thought, you can say, God, dear God, please cancel that thought and stop that pathway. And that just rubs out the thought that you've just had, and then bring in a new empowering thought. If it's something that you've seen, like an image you have in your head, you can say, dear God again, Or you can imagine yourself rubbing it out with a giant eraser, a giant rubber. If you have a lot of fear, try stop watching TV and reading the newspaper, because they have a lot of fear-based stories. Do be aware that we share a collective consciousness. So we pick up emotions and thoughts actually from people that are close to us. So if you have a lot of fear, try spending time going out in nature and being by yourself. Try going away from people as often as you can, just to give yourself a break. And another thing you can do with fear is bring yourself to a state of joy. Now, joy will transmute fear. So when you're feeling nice and calm, find like a YouTube clip of a video that brings you joy, or think of an image that brings you joy, or find some music that brings you joy. And then when you go into that state of fear, you are going to bring up that joyful image, or that that joyful music, and bring yourself back to a state of joy. And that will just really help calm down the fear response. Another thing you can do is you can just keep saying, I believe I feel joyful. I believe I feel peaceful. I believe I feel happy. Because ultimately, as I said before, we are buying into these emotions and thinking they're ours, but they're not. And so we can actually change this by believing we feel something. So if you keep repeating, I believe I feel joyful, I believe I feel happy, that's ultimately what you're going to experience. And you can just try that anytime you like. Another thing you can do is, when you're feeling anxiety and worry, is the angelic realm have a beautiful turquoise color. And if you're feeling anxious and worry, you can simply say, angels, please put the turquoise ray on me, and they will fill you with this turquoise energy, and it will calm you down. So the best time to clear this stuck emotional energy is when you're feeling it. Okay, so it's quite hard to clear it when you're not feeling it. So anytime you're feeling like anger or frustration or fear or guilt or shame, then that is the best time to release it. So one thing you can simply say is, you can have your emotions. Say you were feeling angry. First of all, what is this anger trying to show you? Okay, so use your awareness. What is it trying to show you? What triggered it off? What thought or what event? So you can work out your beliefs. And then you can just simply say, this feeling of anger, I feel it, I honor it, but it's not mine and it's not me, and I let it go with love. Angels, please take it away. And take a deep breath in and then let it go. Okay, and then that will just start to release the anger. Rather than it building up in your body and energy field, you're actually going to start letting it go. Another thing you can use is what's called the violet ray. If you're feeling any emotion or feeling an overload of emotion, you can just say, I call upon the violet ray, and the violet flame. And all you do is imagine in front of you this big wall of violet fire, and you just step into it and just imagine this violet energy cleansing your body and cleansing your auric field. You can use essential oils. Essential oils, as I said before, are very good for calming down your amygdala gland, because your olfactory organ, where you process the sense of smell, is close to your amygdala gland. So when you take a deep breath in, breathing in that essential oil, it easily affects your amygdala gland. So there are many essential oils which are calming, like lavender or frankincense, etc. But have a look into that. You can use EFT. Now, EFT is called emotional freedom technique or tapping. And I'll just do a very quick demonstration. There are loads of different EFT things on YouTube, but what you can do is, say you were feeling the feeling of unworthiness. So you take this part of your hand here, and you just tap on it like this, and you can just say, even though I'm feeling this unworthiness, I deeply and completely love myself. Even though I'm feeling this unworthiness, I deeply and completely honor myself. Even though I'm feeling this unworthiness, I deeply and completely forgive myself. And then you just tap above your eyebrows here, and you just go, this feeling of unworthiness. Side of your eyes, this feeling of unworthiness. Under your eyes, this feeling of unworthiness. Under your nose, this feeling of unworthiness. This feeling of unworthiness. And then your collarbones, this feeling of unworthiness. Under your armpits, it's about bra level actually, this feeling of unworthiness. Top of your head, this feeling of unworthiness. And then you just go through the same points again, a couple of times. And then if you know where it is in your body, sometimes you can feel it in your body. So things like, we store a lot of things in our shoulders. So you can just tap on here, these feelings of unworthiness, and tap on your heart, these feelings of unworthiness. Now, the way I like to finish off is just then by going, unworthiness. And what it is, that clapping and saying it is like a reset button, and it will just help you to release it. Okay, that's a very easy and quick EFT thing, but I say there's lots on YouTube if you want. You can breathe in something to transmute what you're feeling. So we said joy is the best emotion to transmute fear and panic. So breathe in love and joy to transmute fear and panic. If you're having if you're feeling an emotion such as guilt and shame, it's forgiveness that will transmute it. So breathe in love and forgiveness and send it to all parts of your body. You can also put your energies down into your heart center and breathe in love and forgiveness and pull it down to that and send it to all parts of your body. Or you can just simply go in there and feel it and try and pull it into yourself. If you have feelings such as anger, resentment, bitterness, it's gratitude that will transmute these feelings. So you're going to breathe in love and gratitude, okay? Send it to all parts of your body. If there's somebody you are feeling resentful towards, first of all, do some forgiveness work. Say there's a forgiveness thing on my YouTube, on my Facebook page. Forgive them, but send them gratitude. Gratitude has one of the highest vibrations as well as joy. So just thinking every morning and every evening, just for a few seconds, of something you're really grateful for can help bring you, raise your vibration. So if you have a lot of this anger, resentment, bitterness, hatred, those kinds of emotions, use gratitude and think throughout the day and in the morning and at night, things you are grateful for. You can do a bit of work on your inner child. Again, there's something on my Facebook page, but imagine yourself sitting on your lap aged around 7. Or if you've been through a traumatic event, whatever age, imagine yourself at that age in front of you. You know, as a child, you can put them on your lap. If it's you as an adult, have them standing in front of you. And you are going to say to that little inner child, or to that person, you as an adult, it wasn't your fault. I'm really sorry for what you went through. I love you. You are divinely perfect. You are smart, you are beautiful, you are gifted, and you are enough. You are lovable, and you're so worthy and deserving, and you do matter. Your opinions matter, and you're so worthy and deserving of love, etc., etc. Okay, because the inner child is the voice of your body, and it's your inner child that's feeling the fear and the unworthiness and the undeserving and the shame. And reassure your inner child that it's safe, because as I said before, your body is fearing rejection and abandonment. So you are going to reassure your little inner child that it's safe. No one's ever going to hurt you again, because you can never be rejected and abandoned, because I'm always here for you. I've got your back. And you know, I've grown up now, so know what, it doesn't matter if there's nobody here to feed you, because I'm always going to feed you, body. Okay, reassure your inner child that it's safe. You can use golden light. So golden light is the energy of love, it's source energy. So you can just imagine this golden light around you, and you're just going to breathe it in and just send it to all over your body. Fill your energy filled up with it. If you have a part of your body that hurts or isn't functioning properly, send lots of love and golden light to that area too. Another thing you can do is ask the angelic realm before you go to sleep to put their energies through you and around you to clear the stuck emotional energy from your body. Now you might feel a little bit of tingling, a little bit of warmth. You might not feel anything, but you might feel your arm and legs give a little jolt, and that's the same as in a dream you're walking down the steps and you miss a step and your leg gives a little jolt in the night. It's exactly the same as that, and that's stuck energy leaving your physical body. So you might feel a bit of jolting, but you might not feel anything. But just know the angelic realm are working on you if you've asked for it. There is a technique that I put on Facebook called God's Emotional Healing Technique. This is something I prayed for about 6 years ago. I was trying to clear a whole lot of stuff, and I said, God, please help me. And anyway, God gave me this healing technique to use, and it's simply a saying. So you could be feeling, let's say you're feeling resentful, for example. All you have to do is you just simply say, Dear God, regarding this feeling of resentment, there is nothing that exists in the now apart from true love. Therefore, all other feelings are an illusion. They come from another time, space, place, or universe, or dimension, and I send them back with love. And then you just take a deep breath in, and you just imagine them going on a pink ribbon of light. Now that is something you can use maybe 3 or 4 times a day. You don't want to overuse it because it's very quick and easy to say, but you actually have to process what you are releasing. So if you said it like 20 times a day, there's going to be all this stuff coming up, and you wouldn't be able to process it all. And you can put yourself what's called into a healing crisis. Now it's not dangerous, but a healing crisis can just be unpleasant. You might have like flu-like symptoms or an upset stomach or something like that. So nice and slow and steady is the way. When you are clearing, try and concentrate on clearing, first of all, your physical heart and your heart space, your heart center. Okay, another way you could clear them is just simply put your awareness into them and just ask them to release. Or put your awareness in and pull that golden light in, or you can just tap on them, or use any of the energy, use any of the methods we've just talked about. But Yeshua, Jesus, he told me that the heart and the heart center, they act as doctors. And so when you heal those, they will then start to heal everything else in your life. So they not only will help heal your physical body, but they will help heal what is going on in your life. You will automatically start to shed some of those limiting beliefs and shed some of this limiting thought patterns, etc. Okay, so concentrate on your heart and your heart center. So, and yep. One other thing you can do just before we do the crisis, I'm trying to read my writing here. You can just intend and choose. So, I mentioned before about the health. With the power of God that I am, I intend, choose and pray to have full health and vitality. But you can intend and choose anything. So with the power of God that I am, I intend, choose and pray to live in love, or live in joy, or have a wonderful relationship, or have a fulfilling career, or whatever it is you want to experience. Or you can just use it to be free of, I intend, choose and pray to be free of fear, or to be fearless, or to be grateful, etc. This, as I say, it's something you need to keep doing, keep saying over and over again. Okay, so we are going to use the Christ unwinding technique now. This is a technique I developed with Yeshua a few years ago, and what it will do is help replace limiting beliefs, but it will also help clear the stuck emotional energy from your body. So the stuck emotional energy, the Christ light goes through it. It's like a wheel, spinning disc, and it kind of cuts through it and releases it. So if you find somewhere quiet to sit and shut your eyes, and then all you have to do is simply say, I call upon the Christ light to help me. It doesn't matter what religion you are, or if you're an atheist, the Christ light is source energy, and it's going to help you, whatever. And then what you're going to do with your eyes shut, you are going to read some sentences going across the inside of your forehead. Now, it doesn't matter about your spelling, it's your intention that counts. So if you can't spell the words, it doesn't matter as long as you know what it means. And also, it helps if you can read your sentence rather than imagining it. If you're looking and you're finding it really hard to see the words, just keep reassuring your mind, okay, mind, it's safe for me to see my sentences. It's safe for me to see my words. Because if your mind is judging this as unsafe, then it will make it really hard for you. So try and read the words rather than imagine them. But if you can't see them, reassure your mind, and then if you have to just imagine them, then that will work better than nothing. Okay, so your first sentence is, it is safe for me to return to love. So just see that going across your forehead. It is safe for me to return to love. Going across the inside of your forehead. And then underneath that, I am worthy and deserving of liberation. Liberation, freedom. Freedom from being overrun by your emotions. So, I am worthy and deserving of liberation. And then what you're going to do, you're going to see those sentences go into your, imagine they're going into your brain, and you're going to start seeing them weaving in and out. See them going backwards and forwards and left and right and up and down and in and out. And as they're circling around and in and out, you just keep imagining that you're reading them. And your sentences are, it is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. And these are creating new neural pathways in your brain. And then what you're going to do is you are going to see your sentences start to spiral down through your head. See them spiraling around and around, and just know the Christ light is going with your sentences, and it's going to start clearing that stuck emotional energy. So seeing them spiraling down through your head, down through your throat, seeing them spiraling down through the center of your chest. And as they're circling around and around, spiraling down, just imagine reading them again. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. And seeing them going down through your belly, down through the middle of your pelvis. And then they're going to spiral out between your legs. They're going to spiral in that gap between your legs all the way to the floor. Reading them as they're going, it is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. Then you can see your sentences go into the ground or go off into the distance, whatever you like. Then again, just with your eyes shut, reading your sentences again across your forehead. I am safe. Sorry, it is safe, or I am safe, doesn't matter. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. And this time you're going to see your sentences come out and they're going to go up your left hand. So seeing your sentences spiral up and up your left hand, up your left arm, over your left elbow, up the upper part of your arm. And then when they reach the top of your shoulder, you are going to spiral them straight across to your right shoulder. So going across the top of your back to your right shoulder. And then when they've reached the right shoulder, you spiral your sentences back to your left one. And that's just because we store a lot of emotional stuff in our shoulders. So we're going to do that bit twice. So spiral them back across your left shoulder. Then you're going to spiral it down through the left side of your chest, nice and slowly over your heart, just reading your sentences as they're spiraling down. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. Spiraling them down through the left side of your belly, down the left side of your pelvis, down your left thigh, reading your sentences. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. Over your left knee and down your left calf. And then over your left foot. And then again, see them spiraling off into the distance or down into the floor. This time we're going to repeat that. So seeing it, reading your sentences with your eyes shut. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. We're going to repeat it, but this time we're going to do it on the right side. So seeing your sentences, spiral up your right hand, up your right arm, over your right elbow, up your right upper arm. When they reach your right shoulder, you're going to spiral them straight across your left shoulder. And then back again to your right shoulder. And then start them to spiral them down the right side of your chest, reading them as they're going. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. Spiraling down the right side of your belly, the right side of your pelvis, your right thigh. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. Over your right knee, over your right calf, over your right foot. And reading your sentences again across your forehead. It is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. And this time seeing your sentence going outwards, and you just ask for your sentence to be sent across all time and space, dimensions and universes. And then lastly, you just finish off with the sentences. Imagine them in beautiful gold letters or beautiful white letters going across your chest. So, it is safe for me to return to love. I am worthy and deserving of liberation. And then you just thank the Christ light. And this technique, you can use it as often as you like. You can do it several times a day if you want, even several times a week. It's going to have some benefit, but it works really well if you change the sentences around. So if you have some beliefs that you want to overwrite, bring those in as well, or if you can think of something else with the emotions, bring those in. Just make sure that you say them in the present tense and in the positive, so it's I am safe rather than I am not unsafe, or I am becoming safe. It is I am something, and something positive. Now I've just got a few others here that you could use if you want. I am now peaceful and calm. I choose to be loving and kind. I choose love and gentleness. I am a divine being, God in human form. It is safe for me to heal and grow up. I am worthy and deserving of inner peace. I am lovable just as I am. I am enough just as I am. I am divinely perfect just as I am. I am worthy and deserving of love, joy, ease, peace, and abundance. It is my birthright to experience love, joy, ease, peace, and abundance. Everything happens for a reason. All is well. I cultivate self-love, self-compassion, and self-forgiveness. I trust and believe in myself. I accept and approve of myself just as I am. But as I say, feel free to bring in your own. Okay, I hope that's been useful, and lovely seeing you today. Much love, many blessings from my heart to yours.